You know, right now, I guess a brief overview, I think I've already given it. You know, I'm getting ready for the Mr. Olympia contest in another 8-9 weeks. My diet, I guess I should walk you through what I do every day. I usually get up about 5:30, go do about a half an hour to an hour of cardio, usually on a step mill or the treadmill. My cardio is based around, I'd say, keeping my heart rate around 145, 150. I usually wear a chest monitor and a wristwatch. That's just to keep me in a fat burning zone, and I'm obviously trying to burn as much as I can in the most efficient amount of time. Usually after that, I go home, you know, shower up, get breakfast in, which would normally consist of right now, about 8 ounces of ground chicken. I'm sponsored by Red Bird Farms, so I get a bunch of chicken and stuff. But I mean, this is something that we all can go grab at the King Supers. But usually about 8 ounces of ground chicken and 1.5 to 2 cups of egg whites. It's a ton of protein, but being my size, I got to eat a lot and whatnot. So I'll take that in with around 60 grams of carbohydrates, usually from either cream of rice or oatmeal. And usually I like to do oatmeal because it does have a lot of good fiber in it, so it can help push everything through. With that meal, I usually take in my multivitamin and some fish oils and some vitamin C. And then usually throughout the day, I'm usually eating every 2.5 hours, and that would consist of 12 ounces of actually cooked weight of chicken, lean beef, like beef tenderloin, or ground turkey, or white fish. So those are my main 4 proteins outside of egg whites. It's going to be chicken, steaks, turkey, and white fish. White fish would be tilapia, maybe a little bit of halibut or cod. I do like orange roughy, but as much as I can eat of it, it doesn't work out so good. You end up smelling like fish, and it will drain out your butt, and it's really disgusting when you're wearing white shorts, and you might squeeze one off, and next thing you know, you're like, not again. So I've done it, and I'm not too proud to say it, I guess, but yeah, and Dylan's laughing because I'm sure it's happened to him. But also with the white fish, I like to touch on that really fast. The reason why I do tilapia is because it's low in mercury, and because of the fact that toward the end of my diet, I'm usually eating nothing but fish all day. It's a very light protein, so therefore I can eat it every 2 hours, and I'm usually putting away I usually eat toward the end of prep anywhere from 8 to 12 pounds of food a day. Yeah, everything's portioned out, and it sucks. Like, I have no appetite, but I have to do it. But the reason why I chose tilapia is because it's lower in mercury. And you don't want to get mercury poisoning, ever. And a lot of the different fish that is available have a higher count of mercury. And this is something that you can find at the local, meat department, seafood department at your local grocery store. They'll have it on a chart usually. And that's where, going back to what Dylan said about doing cleanses, there's different types of cleanses. There's metal cleanses as well, and that's going to help get rid of that too. But like I said, I usually right now, I'm going to be eating, as soon as I get out of here, I'm eating. And I'll be eating it every 2 hours. And then I'll eat like I said, steak and potato, steak and sweet potato, steak or brown rice or white rice. And usually, like I said, it usually consists of around 60 to 70 grams of carbs per meal. As I get ready toward the end of the prep, usually people ask, don't you starve yourself of food? I'm like, hell no, like I gotta still be big. But what I'll do is I'll reduce the amount of carb meals I'll have. So out of those 7-8 meals, I'll only maybe do 4 meals of carbohydrates. So usually about that time I'm dying because right now I'm taking in like 6 carb meals right now. I'm a happy dude, Then next thing you know, I'll be zombie style like Dylan right now, toward the end, because those carbs do help a ton. What was I gonna say? Doggone it. Well, yeah, with all the proteins that I'm taking in, I usually get around over 500 grams of protein a day. Yeah, so I know sometimes you read in a magazine and they'll say, oh yeah, take 1 gram per pound of body weight and stuff like that. Well, that's good for everyday guy, but I suggest like the person that's out there kicking butt in that gym, out on the field, actually working out, that's not being a couch potato, definitely at least 1.5 grams per pound. And if you're trying to be diesel like me, I could say do like 2 grams, because your body is gonna need it. Trust me. Like if you're asking your body to do something it's never done before, you're definitely gonna have to put the nutrition behind it. One of the things I like to touch on is that a lot of people ask, so you eat through the night. Why? Well, because I still need a constant flow of amino acids, proteins and stuff to help keep this muscle on. I know a lot of people don't eat after like 8 o'clock or something like that because they feel that they can lose weight faster. It's like, well, yeah, you lose weight, but the next thing you know, you go to sleep at 9 o'clock and you don't eat till 12 that next day. So now you've gone an extreme amount of time with no food. It's horrible. So what you want to do is get in the habit of at least, I say generally, every 3.5 hours, you should be putting in protein every meal. And I'm not talking about, I just saw this on one of the news stations the other day. They were saying, you should get good proteins in your diet, and they're talking about like beans and peanut butter and this and that. And I'm like, wait a minute, lady, like these are fat and carb sources. So when I tell you that you should have protein with every meal, you should have protein with every meal, like some type of meat, poultry, fish, something like that with every meal. If you have a hard time with it, it's hard to gauge it sometimes, like especially if you go out, like how many people have to eat out? You guys eat out a lot or eat at home? Well, if you eat out a lot, I mean, nowadays, like they'll actually portion it out for you. They actually do say 8 ounces of chicken breast, 8-ounce steak or 10-ounce. Like, look at that and actually eyeball it and say, okay, this is usually a good rule of thumb for most guys and even some ladies. Like ladies could eat like 6 ounces of protein, guys anywhere from 8 to 12. And that's really good because nowadays, it's different than what it used to be where they wouldn't even tell you the macronutrients of each item. So if you do eat out a lot, I usually eat out like a Tokyo Joe's or a Kokoro or Texas Roadhouse, place like that. And all those places are really clean, so then I can actually get what I need and I can tell them I want more or less. You just have to tell them. Another place. How many people go to Chipotle and Qdoba and stuff? Anyone go there a lot? Well, here's a tip. Like they actually have just regular rice in the back. So if you're on a diet and you're trying to lose a little bit, because what they do is they throw a lot of sodium in it and they put like, butter in it and stuff. And I know I'm making it sound gross now, but I know it tastes good. I love it. But if you want to eat a little bit cleaner, just say, hey, I want the rice in the back with just the cilantro on it. And they'll look at you like you're crazy. And then you just say, no, I know you have it. And they'll be like, okay. And you're cops, so you guys do whatever you want. You got the equalizer on you guys got the equalizer on your hip. They're going to say, okay, we'll make a fresh batch. So you'll be good. But really in a nutshell, I usually, like I said, for the Mr. Olympia contest, I usually get in around 6,400 calories a day. And then I maybe come down a little bit toward the end. That last week is pretty crazy, like what Dylan's going through. I'll usually be normally taking in about 1 gallon to 2 gallons of water a day all throughout the next 8 weeks. And then that last week, I'm down to maybe just that bottle right there for a couple days. But yet I still have to eat 10 to 12 pounds of food. And that's how we get that shrink wrapped, vascular, shredded look, because now we've gone throughout all the diet, we've gotten rid of all the fat, and now all we've got to do is get rid of a little sodium and water, because obviously the body is comprised of mostly water. But that's really what I do. In the meantime, I do, like Josh had mentioned, I do a lot of appearances worldwide. I've already traveled about 100,000 miles already this year around the world. I've already been to Germany, England, Kuwait. I got scheduled to go to India, Australia, Italy, and bodybuilding is in over 150 countries. So with it being a cult sport, it's pretty damn cool to have it as big as it is outside the U.S. Usually when I walk around the street, everyone's like, oh, you play for the Broncos. I'm like, nah, they suck, but this year anyway. But hey, they sucked last year, man. I'm a Bronco fan, to be honest. And I'm from Seattle, and I'm still a Bronco fan. But I say, no, I bodybuild and stuff. And they're like, oh, okay, that's cool. And they're like, is that what you actually do for work? And I'm like, yeah, that's what I do. So, if there's any other questions, I'd love to answer them. Is there any gripes that you guys have when you walk into GNC? I'd love to laugh about that with you.
Going back to training people to CrossFit and all the other bullshit they do, for you two, what are the 2-3 cornerstone lifts for your workout that you absolutely have to do, in your guys' opinion?
I personally think that every person in here should be able to do pull-ups. If you can't pull up your own body weight, that's pretty bad. That's just how I feel. You should definitely be able to do some type of squat, and definitely be able to do some type of, you smile, like, you don't want to squat?
No, a lot of people don't like to.
But you don't want to be a chicken jockey. You don't want to have like little legs, you know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Like, you know, this is the foundation right here, you know, you got. Hey, I tell you what, Josh is in there killing legs. Like, he gets after it. And I've seen him train for like 3 years, and he's done a really good job. And you can always tell, like, it's one of those exercises that either you really love it or you really hate it. But you got to do it because, I mean, we're on our feet all day. You know, if you're out running and stuff like that, you just want to be stronger there. And the last thing you want is to be really top heavy and then have no structure down here. So I would definitely say, you know, some type of bench press, some type of squat, maybe a deadlift, but I don't think that's required. But I would suggest definitely doing a pull-up of some sort, because I mean, if you have to climb something, I mean, could you imagine not being able to pull yourself up and you die? Like, if you're out rock climbing, that's how I view it. Like, I remember there were guys, seriously, I mean, you think about it, like, if you're out rock climbing in the mountains here, and you slip and you're like about to die, and you like, man, I can't even pull my damn self up. I might as well just, I'm good. Or you're just like, serious, man. I mean, that's how I look at it. And I know that may sound silly, but I always challenge people to say, you know, you should at least be able to pull yourself up at least once. And it only takes one time, and then you can get up to 3, and then the 5, and then the 10. I know I weigh about 270 pounds, and I can do 15 reps of freaking pull-ups. I got to do it today in a couple hours for Flex Magazine. I got to film it. If I can do it, anyone else can do it, but you got to practice it. With squats and stuff, I've got bad knees. I've already explained that. It's tough. You know, it's really hard. But that's why there are other exercises too, like leg press, leg extensions, strengthening up the hamstring. You know, what's the first thing that someone pulls when they're chasing somebody? Freaking hamstring. So I would suggest anyone that has to run, strengthen up your hamstrings a lot, because it's the last thing if you're chasing a perp, man. Like, you out there running up, and he's sitting there, you know, you would hate that. You'd feel stupid. But the staples, bench press, I would say pull-ups, maybe a deadlift, and some type of leg squat or press. Yeah. You hate me now.
No, I actually.
You know, Dylan and I, it was our pleasure to come down here. We really appreciate what you guys do. I know I've been very fortunate to get to travel the world and go meet with a lot of different service members around the world. And you guys are definitely my inspiration, and definitely, you know, you guys keep us safe. And I salute you guys all day long, because without you guys, I mean, it would be really jacked up out there. So I just want to say thank you. And if there's anything that guys like myself or Dylan can do, please stop by the gym. I mean, don't feel intimidated to come by. I mean, everyone's really nice. You know, they may be, you know, screaming and hollering and stuff in the back, you know, getting after it, but that's just because we're a bunch of maniacs and we're trying to let out a lot of aggression. But just feel free to say hello, and feel free to ask questions, because that's how I learned how to be the #1 bodybuilder in the world, is by asking a lot of questions by different people and figuring out who's BS and who isn't, and, you know, cross-referencing with online and using all these resources. So I'm at your disposal. I live here, not too far from here. I train there all the time. So just want to say thank you, and hope you guys have a good day. And